I'm going with Ryan Fitzpatrick. This guy had a gunslinger mentality, and you can look at him like, Fitz played for so many teams, but you'd be up the night before and you wouldn't know which Fitz you were going to get. It was going to be an opportunity to see Fitz and get maybe 2 interceptions, or like this game where he threw for 6 touchdowns against us when I was on the Titans, because if Fitz got hot, if he got in a groove, he'd be able to get the ball all over the field. And there was just something about his energy. Fitz was a guy that was always positive. It didn't matter what happened to play before. He was fired up and he was ready to go. As you see this guy running, trying to run people over to score touchdowns. That's what I loved about going against Fitz. But you also was like, man, I might have to have my celebration ready because we may go out there, I may be able to get Fitz a few times. So it was a ton of fun. Who you got at the quarterback position?
For me, it's got to be another guy, unpredictable, had great control, Big Ben Roethlisberger. Probably a Hall of Famer.
Hard to sack, too.
Oh, yeah. You knew when you played Big Ben Roethlisberger that your DB coach was going to yell to you all week, plaster.
Yes. What does plaster mean?
And what plaster means to us DBs is these receivers are going to be running all over the field because we're not going to be able to sack them. Big Ben was hard to sack. He extended plays. It was like he was playing street ball out there, and he had Antonio Brown, Martavius Bryant, Santonio Holmes, Emmanuel Sanders, Mike Wallace. You know they had speed on the field and things were going off script. You didn't know if it was 4th down or if it's 3rd down, if he was going to spike the ball or if he's going to do a fake spike and throw a fade ball. You didn't know if it was going to be a slant or a slugger. So Big Ben was a guy who would go up there, go completely unpredictable. You knew the routes would be a route and then it would turn into a plaster situation. You're running all over the field, chase these little scat receivers around. You knew it was going to be a long day running for you.
Coach just yells plaster?
Oh, plaster.
So annoying.
You do the drill in practice, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
Where you're just running around.
Practice is much longer because the receiver would run their route, and then it will scramble. And then the receivers run high pylon, back pylon, close pylon. You knew Big Ben was going to extend his plays, and he was going to give his receivers a chance. So you knew, regardless how the game was going to go, you need your track spikes on because you're going to do a lot of running.
And what you guys are going to love about my list, all 3 of my guys are undrafted. I went deep cut here. Logan's going with Ben Roethlisberger, the guy's drafted high in the draft, Hall of Famers possibly. Let's move on to the running back position. I'm going with a guy who I had to see twice a year in the same division, Arian Foster, undrafted out of Tennessee. This guy was unbelievable. He had a stretch where 4 out of 5 seasons, it was 1,600 yards, 1,200, 1,400, 1,200. He was running the ball all over the field. And he was a bigger guy, but he was silky smooth. He had something about him where he made people miss, but would also run you over when he got to the DBs. Arian Foster had his famous touchdown celebration where he would just do one of those. And he was fun as hell to watch, to go against, to compete against. And he played with a certain attitude, so I loved going against this guy. Underrated, doesn't really get the credit he deserves. Let's see which Hall of Fame player Logan goes with next. Who you got?
See, he's going with the underrated thing, but who keeps you up at night? That was the question. And when I think about a running back, a prime running back, that's got to be Adrian Peterson.
There you go.
Adrian Peterson, AD, prime AP. I remember being a young player for the New England Patriots, and I remember the coaches telling me, Logan, their scheme is they're going to block everyone else on the field, and he's going to bounce the ball out to you. He's going to bounce out to the corner. They're blocking everyone but you, and it's on you to make a one-on-one tackle, and don't miss because we have no one else because everyone else is blocked. And I remember all week being like, oh, man, when he bounces, all I'm going to see is knees. Knees, knees, knees. Adrian Peterson is running with his knees up. He can run over you. He can run around you. He can jump over you. And he was just, 2,000 yards. Look, everything's bouncing. Great vision, making DBs miss all over. Can run around you, can run over you. I know Jason's trying to give he's a low drafted pick, and I know he's trying to give his shout outs. But, who kept you up at night? Very few players did. I'm a confident human being.
There you go.
But Adrian Peterson, I'm not going to lie, before I had to play him, I was a little bit worried.
Nightmare.
Every single DB's up at night when you got to go against Adrian Peterson. You saw the way he used to finish runs. He just ran the ball angry. And whenever you're going against a running back that big, that runs angry, it is scary. But we got to finish up with the wide receivers. And I'm going with another guy that you may sit there and be like, oh. But this guy used to, off the line of scrimmage, you would try to press him. He would skip off the line of scrimmage, and then it would be an and one mixtape type of move. And I'm talking about Doug Baldwin on the Seattle Seahawks. This guy was a really good football player, and he may not get the love that he deserves, but anybody that had to play against him, they were up at night. You can talk about all the other big guys, but Doug Baldwin was incredible. One-hand catcher. He found a way when Russ was scrambling around, when this team was really good. playing in Super Bowls, he was often the guy that was on the other end of those Russell Wilson passes after he making a ton of people miss. Doug Baldwin was beautiful at the line of scrimmage. There are still receivers today studying his film of what he was able to do.
I like that one. Super overrated. Basketball player at the line of scrimmage.
Yes.
I'm going 3 for 3 on my Hall of Famers.
There we go.
This one's got to be one of the most complete receivers I ever played against in the run game, in the pass game, a bigger version of Cooper Kupp. I'm going with Larry Fitzgerald.
Wow.
I mean, Larry Fitzgerald got more career tackles than drop passes. I don't think anyone's ever going to have that stat again. And the thing about Arizona and Larry Fitzgerald is the splits they would put him in. He was tight to the line of scrimmage, which means you couldn't press him. So make sure DB play off coverage and really get in their game. And then he would stem you and make you weave, and that's really uncomfortable for a lot of us DBs. And he would come and block you. He would block you. He's 215 pounds. He's bigger than you. Yeah, he's strong. He's a willing blocker. So he'll come and block you, and then he'll come and run an out route. Then he'll come and run an in route. Then he'll come and run a curl, and then he'll run a curl and go, an out and go. His route package, based off the runs and the stems, was perfect for his game because he was a willing blocker, a willing receiver. He was fast in his day, and after you got it right, after you figured out if it was run or pass, after you weaved in your pedal, after you covered him, he would still catch the ball because he never dropped the ball. So he was reliable, he was smart, he could read zone, he can beat man-to-man. I got to go with Larry Fitzgerald, man. That was a tough matchup.
Yeah, I love that. Fitzgerald was the type of guy that you have some players that talk a ton of trash to you. Fitzgerald's nice to you out there in the field. Says something like, oh, man, you're having a great career, and then go out there and try to push you into the pile. So I loved going against Fitzgerald.
Yeah, to piggyback on that, I remember we're playing Larry Fitzgerald on Tennessee, and he goes up to Kevin Byard and goes, hey, Kevin, how's the family doing? Merry Christmas. I'm like, Kevin, don't talk to him. This is part of his game. This is how he gets you. I matched up with him a lot, and he's the nicest guy in the world, not on the football field, in the world, and he would literally ask you how your family's doing, how the holidays are going, and I think it was all part of his game.